So welcome back. Sorry about the abrupt cutoff. Unfortunately, I had some computer problems and I had to restart my computer. So now that we've gone ahead and fixed all the issues right here with our mesh that we have and we've optimized it and such, we're going to go ahead now and do the unwrapping section for it. So once you have it selected, if you go down here to material properties and click on here, you can assign that material, and as you can see, you have flat colors, which means that you can see your texture. However, it means that you still have to sort this out. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and start with the big pieces right here. So from modeling, go to UV editing mode, and then right when you come, if you press 3 to go to face mode, we could just unwrap these directly. So if you do U, it's going to bring that up. So it's either going to, if you click unwrap here, it's going to show up here, or if you click on this screen right here, on the unwrap one and press U, then it's going to unwrap it for you. So now that I have this, let's go ahead and sort this out to the side. And the reason I'm doing these separately is to kind of show you how stitching works in Blender, and you can kind of figure out if you ever need to stitch some elements together. So now I've selected this one, put it to the side, select this one, hit U, unwrap, selected, move it to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and hit U again, unwrap, select it, and bring it to the side, and then I'm going to hit U again, unwrap, and set this one to the side. So now that I've gotten all these selected, I'm going to go ahead and stitch them together. Okay, so I'll go ahead and select all of them in the modeling screen so you can see all of them, and move these out of the way. So now that I've got these all out of the way, I want to show you guys an issue that sometimes comes up whenever you're stitching something. And the issue that comes up is sometimes when you unwrap something, the 3D program has to choose which orientation it's going to unwrap the faces that you've done. And sometimes when you are stitching together, not all of the pieces are unwrapped in the same orientation as the other pieces, and you're going to get overlap. So I'll go ahead and show you how to fix that. So let's take one of these as a perfect example. So if I go here and go to edge mode, I'm going to select this edge right here. And then when I go to the UV menu right here, if I do, where is it at? If I do stitch right here, or Alt V, as you can see, it's kind of telling you the proposed, before you actually stitches it together, it's proposing how it's going to show you how it's going to be stitched together. So if I enter, it's going to do the actual commit the stitch. But the issue that I got here is that when I actually try to select these faces, it doesn't let me select all of them. For some weird reason, it just lets me select one face. Let's see. And as you can see, if I take this one and move it, there's overlap. So which means that you've stitched something together, however you've overlapped it. So you don't want that. That's not a good result. And you can usually tell that by clicking on the mesh and seeing what you can select or not. And in this occasion, I could only select that one face. So I'm going to go ahead and do undo. Control Z, 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 and unstitch these together. Cool. So how do you go ahead and fix that issue? You go ahead and fix that issue by actually taking the geometry that's being overlapped, and you're going to mirror it into a different orientation so it stitches correctly. So in this case, it's this one right here, so that's the main offender. So if I go to UV right here and I go to mirror, I'm going to go ahead and mirror it on the x-axis. As you can see in the screen here, it kind of flipped everything. So if I go down here now in edge mode and select this one, and again UV, stitch selected, stitch, that's my proposed stitch. As you can see now, if I select both of these two, as you can see now they're both stitched together. So you're going to probably have to do the same with this one right here, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one and pull it to the side, and I'm going to do again UV mirror on the x-axis. And my guess is if I click here, go to edge mode and click on this one and do Alt V, that's going to propose where it's going to be selected, stitch, hit enter, and now it's stitched it into the right place. And if I go and click on this edge right here, and then I again do Alt V, it's going to tell me that that's going to stitch together with that one. And as you can see, that's not quite the results that I wanted to. So let's go ahead and do this one right here, because I want to go ahead and stitch this and make it into one complete element. So I'm going to go do an Alt V, and then hit enter. And why is this giving me these funky issues? I don't know. So Alt V, Enter, and finally Alt V, Enter. And then as you can see now, after I've gone through all this and it's gone and stitched it all into one element, sometimes it can be beneficial to have everything stitched together because you could have lighting issues and such. So in conclusion, whenever you're actually trying to stitch something, remember to make sure that all your geometry is mirrored into the right orientation, or else it's going to give you problems down the line. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to take this point and file and save. And then I'm going to go ahead and proceed to unwrapping the rest of these parts. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and take this piece right here. Just like that, yeah. And then I'm going to hit U, unwrap. And I'm going to take that, select it all, separate it to the side. Looks good. And then again hit U, unwrap, select it all, pull it to the side. And then I can probably select these two elements right here since I don't want them to be together if they're not going to be stitched together. So I can take these and pull it to the side, separate them so they have some pixel distance. And if I want for continuity, I want to go ahead and take these UVs right here and flip it so I kind of have a symmetrical parity for all of these. That's good. That works out for me. And then now we're going to go ahead and take this one right here, hit U again, unwrap, take it, separate it. This one right here, U, unwrapped, select it and separate it. And this one right here, hit U, unwrap, select it all, separate this, cool, out to the side. And this one right here, U, unwrap, take it and separate it to the side. And the same for this. Wrap, select it all, pull it way to the side. This, U, nice to the side, good. And then what else? I think this one we could just keep it together so we don't have all these little small pieces. U, unwrap, select this, also pull it to the side, and finally these two, I'm going to hit U, unwrap, select these and pull it to the side. So now that I've gotten all of the pieces nicely unwrapped and such, we're going to go ahead and put it all together, compact it, and put it into one compact piece so we can sort it out in the UV space. So I'm going to, with face mode select, I'm going to hit L. And as you can see, everything's shown up. So now I'm going to go ahead and have to separate all this and kind of line it up and maybe scale some of the pieces depending on how it's working, or depending on the UV scale. So go ahead and start by selecting this one right here. Just drag and select all of it. Pull this to the side. This one right here, and as you can see right here, this is one of these pieces right here that I'm working on. I have this little corner bottom section right here that's also a part of it. So I'm going to go ahead and take that little bottom strip and stitch it to this. So I'm going to go into edge mode, select this, and then I'm going to hit Alt V. Cool. And Alt V. V. No, is it not? It's not the result I wanted, obviously. Alt V. Enter. I have to admit, this Blender unwrap, I'm not so used to it, so it's a little funky to me sometimes. So, see? select all these elements and take them, pull them to the side. And just for consistency, I'm just going to go ahead and take these and rotate them so it kind of lined up with the other one. Cool. Take this one and then move it. And as you can see, I'm already having consistency issues with the scaling of this. So I'm going to go ahead and say this one right here, this big strip right here is going to be the scale that I'm going to use as a basis for scaling the rest of these. So I'm going to go ahead and take these two right here, select them, and I'm going to go ahead and scale them so they kind of more or less fit these top meshes right here. That's good here, like that. And then we're going to do the same for these two elements. So I'm going to take this one, line it up with a piece that's kind of the corresponding one, take this as well, select both of them, scale them, doesn't need that much to be kind of close to what it is, and then take it and move it to the side. Good. And then the next ones are going to be these two right here, so let's go ahead and take these two, line them up, and again the scale is not quite how I would prefer, so I'm going to again take these both, scale these down, yes, and move these so I kind of start getting them all together into one nice little package that I could have them separate from everything else once I unify all of the mesh elements together. And then this one right here, let's see, that's got to be the top one, and as you can see the scaling on this one's more or less okay, so I'm good with this one. Take it and move it right here to the side. What is this piece right here? That one has to be this little bottom strip here. And let's see, probably could be scaled a little bit more so it's kind of fits the other one, so I'm going to go ahead and scale it a tiny bit, and that feels about right. Take it, separate it, and move it here to the side. And then as you can see, you're going to be doing this for all of these pieces. So this one right here is the bottom section, and again, as you can see, the scale is much too big. So I'm going to zoom in on this and start to uniform scale this so the scale sort of fits with the rest of the other grid. Cool. Take it, separate here to the side, and then finally this main piece, I'm going to move it this way, and I'm going to go ahead and rotate it so I'm sort of making a box out of all these shapes. Oh, piss. And moving it here to the side. I think it could use a little bit more rotation. Slight bit of adjustment. Cool. And then as you can see, this has been unwrapped nicely. And then the last and final bit to this to make sure we have some sort of consistency. If I go in object mode here, as you can see, I forgot some of the elements. So let's go ahead and adjust those while we're at it. So we'll go back to edit mode. And if I do Alt H, it brings back all the other pieces. So these two are the ones that are left. So the cylinders, they're more or less unwrapped. They just need some adjustments right here to take some of that stretching. So I'm going to, while I hover over this one, hit L. And then I'm going to take this one and also move it to the side. Cool. Hover over the other cylinder, L, boom. And then L so we see both of them. Select this one, put it to the side, line these up. And as you can see, they have that distortion, and we can fix this distortion by taking some of these and vertices right here and extending them all the way up. So as you can see now, the scale is more even. And these right here are a little bit too big in relation to these. So I'm going to take and scale these. So they kind of match the scale of the cylinder element, and then I'm going to select all of this and I'm going to scale it now to where it fits the scale of the main piece that we're using as a reference. So that's good. And then again, after I've scaled these to work correctly, then I hit hover on L and click on the main element so I can see that. And then I'm going to take these right here and I'm going to move them and push these to the side. So now I have all of it nicely unwrapped and kind of put into a little square package. So now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and go to object mode, click out of that, and then I'm going to hit Alt-H to hide everything. As you can see now, the scale of that piece is way too big in relation to the main body. So with that piece selected, I'm going to go to edit mode. As you can see, I have the whole selection. Zoom in a little bit because we're going to have to scale it down a little bit, and then I'm going to slowly scale it down. And this is one of these things where it's have to just do it as best as you can in relation to the rest of the pieces. Keep scaling, keep scaling, keep scaling. And the reason that you're going to be going and scale these pieces so they have corresponding resolution is that if you scale one element in the game, like a little piece like this, for example, and make it too big in the UV texture space, you're going to give this little piece way more resolution than it actually should in relation to the rest of the other pieces. So one of the big mistakes that you see in games, for example, is whenever you have UVs that are scaled badly, you'll have a character and his face will look really, really nice, and then you'll go to the body and it'll look really, really blurry. So the reason you're going through all this work is to make sure that all the pieces take equal amount, proportionally take equal amount of space within the UV map as possible. So now that that piece is done right here, we're going to go ahead and do Control Save, and I'm going to go ahead and put a stop to this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.